Good evening and welcome to Poland Daily. I'm Nicholas Richardson and these are our stories. Polish President Andrzej Duda today signed into law the extension to the government's 500+ programme. From July, every family will receive a monthly payment for each child under the age of 18, and not just for the second and subsequent children, as was the case when the programme, a Law and Justice Party 2015 election promise, was introduced in early 2016.
Recently, over 3,600,000 children benefited from the 500+ program. That is 52% of all children under the age of 18. After the extension of the program, over 6,800,000 children will benefit from it. According to the Deputy Prime Minister Beata Szydło, the 500+ program was extended to meet society's expectations. I have been asked numerous times to expand this program so that all children up to 18 years of age could benefit from it. This is a public social program that has greatly helped those families who have had a tough financial situation, and that is very satisfying. It's one of the better programs to have recently been created for Polish families, a development program that is an investment in the Polish family. The Minister of Family, Labour and Social Policy, Elżbieta Rafalska, emphasized that the 500+ program has limited the level of poverty in Poland. Poverty has been limited in large families, single-parent families, and families with disabled children. There is also a decrease in extreme poverty, not only in families, and this is related to the implementation of other programs, but it is also related to the situation on the labor market, falling unemployment, rising wages, and the general economic situation. The 500+ program for the first child will enter into force on July 1st this year, regardless of the family's income.
A man is due to appear in court on June the 3rd in relation to Tuesday's attack on the Polish ambassador to Israel, Marek Magierowski, outside the Polish embassy in Tel Aviv. According to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, the assailant, who was arrested 90 minutes after the incident, will face charges of assault and making verbal threats.
I would like to express my apologies. My family experienced the Holocaust and my appeal to the embassy was on the matter of restitution of property. I was treated awfully and one of the embassy employees insulted me. Then I left the embassy and walked towards my car, which was located in a nearby parking lot. A car came from around the corner. I did not know that inside that car was the Polish ambassador. I apologize for my behavior.
The Polish government called Anna Azari, the ambassador of Israel, into the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, where she was given the clear stance of the Polish side in this issue. Poland is concerned about this incident, though we noticed the efficient operation of the Israeli police, who indicated the perpetrator.
The Ministry of Foreign Affairs has filed a motion to increase the security of the Polish embassy in Tel Aviv. This is a reasonable move considering yesterday's attack. Nevertheless, I hope that this was a one-off incident and such an issue will not arise ever again.
Absolutnie wyjątkowy i więcej taka sytuacja nie będzie miała miejsca.
The United States ambassador to Poland, Georgette Mosbacher, wrote on Twitter today that the information about US Law 447, provided by the Confederation, a grouping of Polish far-right populist parties formed to take part in the European elections, is grossly untrue. She said that speech of hatred of representatives of extreme organizations will not disturb the relations between the allies. Meanwhile, the head of Polish Prime Minister's office, Michał Dworczyk, stated in the Polish parliament that Poland does not owe anything to anybody in respect of the restitution of property appropriated during the Second World War, and that Poland herself has the right to be compensated.
If we are talking about claims, then we can talk first about all the Polish claims, because Poland was the victim of the Second World War. For that very reason, we expect to be compensated by the countries who invaded Poland. The US ambassador to Poland, Georgette Mosbacher's tweet pointed to the fact sheet prepared by the US State Department about the new law titled Justice for Uncompensated Survivors Today, Act of 2017. The note explains how the US is interpreting the letter of that law. The JUST Act is an American law that requires the US Department of State to provide a one-time report to Congress by November 2019. The one-time report will assess the national laws and policies of countries that endorsed the Terrorism Declaration from the 2009 Holocaust-era Assets Conference regarding the identification, return of or restitution for assets wrongfully seized or transferred during the Holocaust era. The JUST Act is a tool to inform efforts to measure the progress of countries in meeting their Terrorism Declaration commitments.
Verena Balson, An heiress to a German biscuit empire has stirred up emotions after claiming that her family treated their Eastern European slave labourers well during the Second World War. Representatives of families affected by the German use of slave labour argue that this statement by Balson proves that large parts of the German elite are not aware of the extensive use of Slavic slave labourers during the war. More than 2 million Poles were deported to Germany against their will and forced to work 7 days a week under gruelling conditions.
The German biscuit heiress started off by declaring that she's a capitalist who wants to invest her family's wealth in sailing yachts. I want to say one thing before being asked. I'm capitalist. I'm not at all anti-capitalism. I own a quarter of Balson and I'm very happy about that. It should stay that way. I want to earn money and buy sailing yachts with my dividends. Additional statements made by her in an interview with Bild came across as insensitive and out of touch with reality. She told the German tabloid that her German family had done nothing wrong in employing slave labourers. That was before my time, and we paid the forced labourers exactly as much as we paid German workers and treated them well. Christine Glauning, head of the Forced Labour Documentation Centre in Berlin, argues that many Germans are unaware of the history of slave labour used by Germany during the war. Many people don't know much about it, but we can also see a great interest by German and international youth groups coming here and being astonished, mostly by how omnipresent forced labour was, how many camps existed not only in Berlin but in the entire German Reich, how many millions of people were used, and how much the war industry gained from it. Not only in the large arms factories, but also the food industry with companies like Balson. Germany used 7 million Slavic slave labourers during the Second World War, 5 million from the Soviet Union and 2 million from Poland. Most of them have never been compensated for their ordeal.
The governor of Alabama, Kay Ivey, has signed into law a controversial abortion bill in which doctors who perform abortions could face life imprisonment. Ivey did, however, note in her statement that the new law may be unenforceable as a result of the Supreme Court's Roe v. Wade ruling in 1973, which legalized abortion in all 50 states. The new law was passed in Alabama with the aim of challenging that decision.
The governor of Alabama, Kay Ivey, has signed a controversial abortion bill banning the termination of pregnancy in almost all cases.
I thank God for this day. For a day that every day I fight and I pray that abortion ends, but I truly never thought that we would see a day like this.
Alabama's Senate adopted the law which prohibits abortion at any stage of pregnancy except when there is a serious threat to the mother's life. A doctor who performs an abortion may face up to 99 years in prison. A woman who agrees to do it will not be punished.
If you look at a child in the womb with a beating heart, with a distinct blood type, and you ask a preschooler, a small child, what are you looking at? They say that they would look and say, that's a baby.
Opponents of the new regulations announced that they would block the new law by taking legal action.
We're going to go to court, and we're going to, I fully expect that we will be able to block this law before it takes effect. What's really important for people to know is that today abortion is legal in Alabama and in every state across the country.
The Democrats protested against the new law.
But at the end of the day, there are no female Republican women. You're talking about 27 white men decide what women can do with their bodies.
Supporters of the new Abortion Ban Act hope that the Supreme Court will issue a new interpretation of the Constitution on abortion and change its legal status resulting from the ruling in the famous 1973 case of Roe v. Wade, which led to the legalization of abortion in the United States.
Hopefully get to the Supreme Court and have them revisit the actual decision, which was, is the baby in a womb a person?
In recent months, anti-abortion laws have been made stricter by states such as Kentucky, Mississippi, Ohio, and Georgia. The new law in Alabama will come into force in 6 months. In this way, Alabama has become a leader in protecting the lives of unborn children in the United States.
That's the news. Thank you for watching. Stay with us for the weather, business, and more programs. But from me, it's have a good night and a better tomorrow.